Guess who's back? Uncle Clash. Hello everyone and welcome to Clash from the Past. A little bit of a hiatus for me. I'm busy with a new album and a tour for my rockin' family music band. But I have some time before the insanity begins, so let's talk some Clash. One of you out there suggested that maybe I do a video about some of my top cards in relation to cost, ability, and versatility. Mixing those three together and coming out with what I think are some of the most valuable cards in the game. And that sounds like a great idea, so I'm going to do it. Now before I begin and give you my top 10, I wanted you to know that I'm going to leave off this list, and they would certainly make it, the Bomber and the Knight, because I already did a video about them to explain how much I love and value them, as well as the Musketeer and Zap, because those two cards I'm going to handle in a separate video. They are my American Express cards. I don't leave home without them. If you get that reference, whoo, good on you. You're not a whippersnapper. All right, so let's get started. My top 10 cards in relation to cost, versatility, and ability. Number 10, Ice Spirit. I felt compelled to include one card that cost 1 elixir, and really I could have picked any of them, but the Ice Spirit is the one I settled on. I play a lot of 2v2, and having the ability to freeze something, if only for a half second, can make the difference between winning and losing. So out of all the spirits in the cards that cost 1, I'm going to put Ice Spirit at number 10. Number 9, Guards. I grew into this card. Initially, I didn't like it because, I don't know if you remember, you used to be able to take them out with arrows. But that's not the case anymore. And especially with the introduction of a lot of cards like the Boss Bandit, and even the ones that give you trouble like the Prince and the P.E.K.K.A.s, the guards can be a great tool, especially defensively. They only cost 3, and the cool thing about them too is they can stop, but they can also attack. They can converge around a tank that's coming in, and they do more damage than you think they do. And they're not impossible to defeat, but you do have to knock their shield off first. And so I find at 3, guards are an excellent value. Number 8, the Log. This card is great. It only costs 2, and as far as versatility is concerned, it's up there with ways in which you can use it. There are tried and true ways of taking out the Goblin Barrel with it. That's a 2 for 3 trade. That's great. It can defeat the Dark Goblin. It can sweep up various small troops, maybe even get yourself a princess. But what's cool about it too is, like, when it gets messy around the bridge, sometimes it's just a great thing to roll through a whole bunch of troops. It doesn't necessarily kill them, but it pushes them back and it does a decent amount of damage. Number 7, Valkyrie. What can you say about this card? It's just fantastic. It's built like a tank. It's incredibly hard to kill. It's a wonderful defensive tool. It's great in a crowd. At a price of 4, you get a lot out of it. It just works well inside of a lot of different mixes. I see a lot of Valkyries out there. I only use it in one of my decks, but I understand why I see it every time it's dropped on the other side. Number 6, Tombstone. I don't use this card as much as I used to, and some of you might have begged off it. It's become a little bit easier to defeat, and the Goblin Curse makes it a little tricky, but I still think this is a solid card. Placed right in the middle, it does a great job drawing in hogs and various other things that come to attack it. It only costs 3, so it's cheaper than a Tesla, and it's cheaper than a bomb tower. And it also springs the skeletons, which I think is an undervalued part of the Tombstone. Now, I don't depend upon those skeletons to do much, but what I find is that sometimes the remnants, or even just those skeletons coming out, can create a stream of little guys to sort of follow in and attack. And more often than not, I find that the Tombstone skeletons come in handy. They just do. It's not why I use the card, but that's where I think its extra value is, and that's why it made the list. Number 5, Ice Wizard. I love this card, especially in 2v2 when you need to slow down a whole bunch of troops. This thing is fantastic. I think at a price of 3, it's a bargain. It's tough to kill, and even when it is getting attacked, it's slowing down the attack at the same time. It's fantastic in a mix. You can even now drop it on top of skeletons and the like, and sort of kind of freezy zap it a little bit, which is an added bonus. And it also can just be a pain in the butt. What I see a lot of times when I drop it is people will sometimes throw a fireball at it, which, you know, that's a 4-for-3 trade. So that's not necessarily a great trade, but I'll understand why, because they're like, this thing, I gotta get it off the board. It's such a pain in the butt. It's making everything I do difficult, which is why it's a highly valued card, especially for the cost of 3. Number 4, the Hog Rider. I don't use this one anymore, but I get paired with it a lot. I battle against it a lot, and it's an excellent card. It's fast, it does good damage, it can jump from anywhere across the board. Sometimes people don't utilize that as much as they should. And as far as a quick attack is concerned, it's about as quick as it gets. At a cost of 4, I always look at this as a good choice. Number 3 is the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Now, I've talked about this one before, but what can you say about this little guy? Fast, hits like a truck, and is an awesome defensive tool and a devastating offensive one. If you can get a Mini P.E.K.K.A. in on the tower, nighty-night, game's over. But what I love about it too, especially in a crowded 2v2 game, is an Electro Giant, a giant of any sort, pulling that Mini P.E.K.K.A. down and dropping it next to, even standing up a Mega Knight. Mini P.E.K.K.A. at the price of 4 is incredibly valuable, and you can use it a lot of different ways. I think where people get in trouble is when they treat it as a go-go-go weapon, because it can be stopped with little cards, as we know. But if it starts defensively and then turns into offense, double the value. Number 2, and I thought about this one, this might surprise some of you, but the Night Witch. I find this one subtly tricky. It has a decent ground attack. It's not particularly easy to kill. A fireball doesn't get it. And the little bats that come out are more problematic than you would think. One spot I see the Night Witch being put in a lot is behind a golem. And what's funny is it's almost become predictable, but I gotta hand it to that duo. It works, because even if you're able to drop something behind the golem and defeat the Night Witch, well, then you got those little bats up top destroying whatever then going after the golem. It's a devastating combo. I initially didn't like the Night Witch, but I've come to respect it, and I made it number 2. My number 1 card, as far as value, versatility, and ability, is the Inferno Dragon. This thing is a beast. It obviously can be stopped by an Electro Wizard, but if you handle this thing carefully, it can devastate. It's more or less an Inferno Tower that can move. And what's funny about it too is it's got a lot of health. It's not easy to take down, even if you're musking it or whizzing it. I personally use it primarily in the beginning as a defensive weapon to deal with the big cards that might come in. That also helps me keep it away from an Electro Wiz that might be dropped at the bridge, because then it can't get to it. And although it's not an offensive weapon, when it becomes one, it's scary. You can't let that thing in, because if it locks in on the tower and you don't have anything to stop it, it'll just mow down the tower and then move on to the crown tower. For the price of 4, great value. Well, that's my top 10 list. You'll notice that there isn't any cards that are priced over 4, and that's not to say that cards that cost more than 4 I don't find value in. It's just I find more value in things that don't cost as much. But I hope you enjoyed my list of 10. I'm sure you have some that you would put on your list. Let me know. You should know Ice Golem came in at 11. It was close. It was close. And there's a lot of cards out there I could include on this list, but you asked for my list, so there you have it. All right, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.